Yellowjack, if you haven't heard of it before, it might be on purpose. Local fishermen don't like telling people how good it is because it means more for them. As a professional fishmonger, I have a multitude of local chefs that want me to let them know every time I see one of these fish, and there really aren't enough of them to keep up with the demand because they are becoming more and more popular. So once we get to the center spine right there, you can hear that nice satisfying noise. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up, separate the connection the pin bones make to the ribs, go to the top of that spine, tip of the knife on the second side, slide down, rest your knife right on top of those ribs and slide down those rib bones. That way, you're not losing any of that prized yellowjack meat. Look at that. And these fish are so good, you might just want to take a slice like that and go to town. Look how absolutely beautiful that meat is. This fish right here is going to be the absolute closest local wild fish we have that's going to be comparable to a yellowtail jack, which is a very popular sushi restaurant fish caught in the Pacific. It's also very popular to farm raise those fish. But this is a local wild caught fish right here in Southeast Florida, and it's phenomenal raw. Flip it over, we're gonna repeat the process. Pick up the fin, go behind the head at an angle, twist it around, tip of the knife right at that opening, and slide all the way down. Rest our knife right on top of that skeleton and pull towards the tail. You wanna make sure that you're right on top of that skeleton and letting the skeleton guide your knife. Because you're on the second side and it's not laying flat, you just wanna make sure you're riding those bones. Go to the top of that spine, tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up, separate the connection the pin bones make to the ribs. Now we can rest our knife right on top of those rib bones and slide on over those rib bones without any rib bones in it. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is high loin, low loin it. When you have your fish, this top section is gonna be the high loin. That's the piece that cuts behind the head all the way down on this side of the pin bone line. Right here is the low loin. The low loin is always gonna be the side that has the belly attached to it. So we're going to rest our knife right on top of those pin bones and let those pin bones guide our knife. The tail on these jacks are rock hard, so sometimes takes a little bit of force to cut through it. There's the beautiful high loin. Now we're gonna cut off the low loin, same thing. And it is an absolute pleasure cutting these beautiful fish on the Killerdock, the best fish cleaning station known to mankind. And look at that, guys. You got bloodline in there, pin bone line right there, and we feed it to the local fish. A little bit of membrane left on the belly side. We're gonna shave that off. Now, we don't need any of this super crunchy tail with a lot of sinew in there, so we're gonna start right in front of it. Get your knife in there at a hard angle. Once your knife is in there, you can flatten it out and have a nice soft angle. So that way we leave out that silver off of the fillet. And just like that, gorgeous yellowjack. This fish is absolutely to die for. And we're teaching you how to clean so you don't lose out on any of that delicious meat. All right, now we're gonna take the high loin, same deal. We're gonna start at a hard angle. Once your knife is in there, you can twist it and flatten out your knife, and you don't wanna have a hard angle scraping all the way down. Otherwise, you're gonna leave the silver from that skin on the meat. Flip it over, and look at that. That hard sinew is left on the skin. That bloodline is left on the skin, and whoo, that is absolutely beautiful fish. Some people like leaving just a little bit of blood in there for umami. We're gonna just go ahead and cut it out by flattening out our fish like that. And look at that. You didn't get any of that good meat on there, just got rid of all of that blood. Now, because of the shape of these fish, if you try to skin it as a whole fillet, you're gonna be a lot more likely to leave that silver on the meat or just straight up leave a lot of fish behind to try to get it off in one piece, which is a big part of why we like sectioning it off. We were successfully able to get the skin off in one piece without leaving a lot of silver on the meat, but It is easier said than done, so if you want a cheat code, just loin it out first. So if this is what you have left, we want to, at a hard angle with your knife, slide your knife underneath that blood. The blood is fanned out. It goes all the way down the middle, but towards the bottom, it is just a flat layer. So if you see here, we're just taking a thin layer off the top, and you've got no blood underneath. So you really don't want to go deeper than that and lose out on that delicious yellow jack meat. Then once you feel the bones, you can start to angle your knife down. So we feel the bone right there. So now we're just going to go straight down. And just like that, you got your high loin off with all that bloodline out, and it's pretty cool. You can see how it jets out like that, but it doesn't go all the way through. You can see that thin layer of white right on top. Alternatively, you can run right along the pin bone line, go down to where that bloodline starts to jet out. You're running a little blind like this though, so you need a little more experience. Then you can twist your knife like that and go underneath, and both of those methods work great. Almost no white meat left on that. All the bloodline attached to the pin bone line. So there's your pin bone line and all the blood on both sides. A little bit of membrane there. We're gonna be eating this raw, so we're gonna get rid of that. If you were to fry it, it'd be just fine as long as there's no bones in it. Just like the Pacific yellowtail, our Atlantic yellowjack has delicious collars, and you don't want to miss out on them. Expose those gills, get your finger underneath all of them, puncture that membrane, slide right underneath the lip, and right here, there's a little bone sitting right on top of the collarbone. Slide your knife right underneath that bone, and it releases that collar. There'll be a little bit of membrane left. You just cut that membrane out easily, and there you go. That one section will pop right off, and I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but look at the iridescence and fat in that piece of fish. That is absolutely delicious stuff right there. Flip it over, repeat the process. Puncture the membrane underneath the gills, just like that. Find that bone that's resting right on top of the collarbone. Slide your knife right underneath it, just like that. And this will pop right out. Look at that. Now we're gonna do just a little bit of trimming up. Grab some of that membrane, some of that coagulated blood, and shave it just like that. A little bit more rinsing, and that is ready to go on the grill. That's how you fillet and loin out your yellowjack. Hope y'all have a killer day.